Wheatley's Trip to the Tip tour of October 2023. We travelled to the tip of Australia. It's split over 6 days, as seen in the map there, and day 1 starts from Mariba, going up to the Lion's Den Hotel. First we get picked up in the bus, and then we end up at the shed with all the DRs, and each of ours has our name on it. These are the Wheatleys participating. Very quickly we come across our first creek crossing, which got a couple of people unstuck. This is my perspective coming across the creek. And across we go.
Oh, great. Oh, yes, okay.
And we have our first casualty of the trip. This is Keith, not a Wheatley. Now we have Greg going across. Now let's take another look at this.
Oh.
The boys were really efficient in getting the bikes dewatered and ready to go again. There were several more times on this trip where this needed to happen. Now we ended up in some of the forestry work, following some single trail. And here we have Luke, who wanted to look at the trees a little bit more closely.
Good?
Second creek crossing for the day done. And now we have Mark stuck in the mud. Unfortunately I didn't get the crash on camera, but we can see the aftermath of all the mud on the right hand side. Giuliano comes to the rescue of Greg. It was a bit tentative going through this dip creek, not wanting to replicate what happened to Mark. Now we're coming up to the CREB track. Now to get to the CREB track we need to cross the Daintree River. Now first is myself and Greg going across. Now we have Luke charging across the water. Take it easy, Luke. Down she goes. Now from Wayne's perspective, at the start of the river. Let's watch that again.
Oh, he goes, there he goes.
Now we have the second casualty of the day, which is not a Heatley. Now we have Mark's venture across.
There's Mark.
Just outside the Daintree River, when you get onto the other side, there's another creek crossing like this. Juliana is showing us how it's done. Who is our tour leader? Here come all the boys coming across. Mark was just checking the depth in the river. He definitely didn't stall on purpose. Now riding through the CREB track, extremely slippery. You either got to pick the left or the right wheel track or keep in the middle. Here's Juliana showing us how it's done. Lucky in 2023 to get through this because ever since the cyclone came later that year, the CREB track's been closed until mid-2024. Couple of still shots at the bottom of the creek. Here's Mark's venture across. I think we could have another casualty coming up.
Fuck.
Incredibly steep going up some of these hills. Definitely wasn't shy of any pre-crossings at all. This is the view from the top of the CREB track. A quick bite to eat, refuel some energy. And there were a couple more dippers. Here's Giuliano to the rescue again. Then we got to the Lions Den Hotel, parked up, and then day 2 was from the Lions Den to our campsite for the next day, up via Starcke. There's our morning briefing at the Lions Den. Then we stopped at Cooktown, had a look around. Now on day 2 there was an optional breakout section which most of the group went through up to Starcke, which is an incredibly sandy track. And then there was an easier path which is led by Giuliano that we'll see later on. Magnificent views up here at Cooktown. This is Mark coming through, and he went on the easy option for that day. And he definitely didn't install it on purpose there. Like the boys are loving themselves on that easy route. There's a bit more commuting to go before we got to Starcke. And here we are in the sand. Very powdery, soft sand. It was like this for at least 60 kilometers, what felt like 150. old time. Definitely want to buy one of these after we're done with them on this tour. I believe the name of this trail is the Wekooka Trail that ends up in Starcke. Stop for a quick drink break. I think we drank at least 3 litres. Full Camelback this day. It was hard yakka. Now we're off again in the sand. Nearly ran over that little piglet. I think Luke was trying to catch it for dinner that night. It was torture. We got some good views at the end of the Starcke track. Now we're crossing the causeway to go into Kalpawa Crossing, into the campground. Now this night in the campground, there was a bidding war for a Seat Concepts comfort seat the next day, which I did win. And the prize was the seat, and the person who bid the most to donate to the Royal Flying Doctor Service won. So the plan was the next day was a bit of a commuting day on the PDR, and then we'll drop into the Royal Flying Doctor Service in Cohen. See, Luke's wearing the stack hat, as he won the award for the best stack of the day. Now day 3 we went from Kalpawa Crossing up to Bramwell Station. Now there was a bit of commuting in the morning. You can see just endless plains of nothing around.
Ahead to pick it up.
Get it back up.
Would I be honest? Okay, yeah, I'd be honest.
If you didn't smash it, I think you'd be alright.
Hey?
You come back in your blanket hole.
Yeah,
Oh no, if you fall off, no, I'll just lay against a tree.
yeah, when you got sand up in your feet, it's a giveaway.
Here comes Mark rolling in. Oh, look at that for timing. On you, Greg. Like I said, there was a bit of commuting on the main development around that day. This is me following Wayne up into Cohen. The track was definitely slippery, very dusty, a light layer of sand over the top. See Wayne getting the backhand out a bit. I think he was a bit worried that he got a bit of a flat tyre, as the bike was a bit twitchy underneath. Nope, no flat tyre, Wayne. Just a nice look out at the way, and this is us at the Royal Flying Doctor Service. And this was an optional hill that Wayne was successful in going up. Here's Luke's attempt. Now that was a good display. Some more PDR riding, and then we head into the Northern Telegraph Station where we stopped for lunch. Now I told Eli earlier we didn't stop at the Bromwell Junction this day. We stopped at Wolverton Station, which is a private residence, and just after our stop at Morton Telegraph Station, there was an optional breakout to get into the back of the station, which myself and Wayne took, and it was hard. It was more sand as well, but we'll get to that. Now we're into the breakout, started off with some single track, end up on the main road, eventually we work our way up a hill where there's lots of sand on the top of the hill. Now down at the bottom of this creek bed, it was a bit sandy getting out, and there was a tree you had to jump across. Now watch old mate get over. Oh, bit of a kicker. Easy does it. Now this sand is relentless. We're carving up through the trees. This is where we start the incline, going up the hill. Got to pick your line across these water ruts. Once we got to the top, we regripped again. Giuliano gave us a heads up. Now this is where the real sand begins. Still climbing. sudden, sand appears at the top of this hill. Quickly whack it into second gear, lean back, and hang on. What made it really difficult is slowing down for these corners in the sand, because you know, as soon as you slow down on the sand, your front end digs in. If you slow down too much, then you end up just digging a big trench. You gotta keep your momentum up. There's some roots across the track just to make it a bit harder. Some big whips in the sand. Felt like Toby Price for a second. Starting to get the hang of this sand. Oh, definitely don't feel like Toby Price now. Here I am scrambling trying to get the bike off my leg before Wayne sees. Because at this point I hadn't crashed yet. And oh, there we go. Too late.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
You hit that fucking wood there, did you?
Nah. I just came over the hump and then I rolled off the gas and then my front end digged in.
What gear are you in?
Second.
Yeah.
Towards the end of the sand, Giuliano taking some shots over the left leg. And now we're at Wolverton Station. There was a lake. It was nice to cool down after the end of that day. It was a tough day. On day 4 we went to Wolverton Station to Bromwell, across the Frenchman's track. There was a bit more PDR riding this day.
Why can't I read?
Nice singing, Casey. This is riding down the Frenchman's, down towards the Pasco River, I believe. And now we're up on top of a plateau and you can see just the trees. And then slowly we'll start descending down towards the river. There were some really good views at the top of this plateau. You don't know when the sand will pop up, just keep you on your toes. Alright, now we're descending. Followed by some more singing. Now we're down, lining up to go across the Pasco. Usually they have to carry the bikes, stick logs in the wheels and carry them across, but the water was a bit lower this year, so we could kind of half ride it across. But then we had to start pushing it. And by half ride across, I mean half stand next to it with the clutch dragging.
So just that side of you.
Now we have Luke pushing the bike across. With Giuliano and Jim as our handyman, just to stop us from drowning the bike. It was incredibly rocky and slippery base at the bottom. Really hard to get a good foot placement to get across. Definitely couldn't do it on your own. And once we got across the river, we had to get up the other side, and you can see from the shots right here, it's very rocky. You got to bring out your trials riding skills for this incline.
Try that?
Yeah. Alright, you can see road's waiting to go up. Bit of an awkward angle.
That's it. Yeah, all right, Luke, it's easy.
Now viewers beware, this is a bit of a painful watch, but it's necessary.
Yeah, you will. I did.
Where did you go straight up?
No, on that right hand side there.
Wayne's being a good sideline coach.
Can do it.
Hold back. Come up here, Luke. Yeah. Do it. Fuck you, come on. I'll take it up if you want.
Right, now get on it, Luke. Get on it now. Into it.
Climbing, we're climbing. We're up in the clear. Nice one. Alright, I definitely spoke too soon. Now watching that struggle from my perspective as I was the next in line may or may not have played with my head a little bit.
It'll get too big and fire, but stop it every now and then. Restart it.
Take that up.
Alright, I'm up and away. Not the most graceful ascent, but got the job done. Then after that hard yakka, we all just laid around, had a bit of relaxation on the water. A couple more water crossings to go across. Now the Frenchman's track was very straight for most of the time. It really was just a straight line going east-west, where we eventually joined back onto the Peninsula Development Road. There are a couple more creek crossings. Had a relaxing swim again. And I kept riding. Didn't know how deep some of these puddles were going to be. A lot deeper than what I thought.
What are you saying?
Have I mentioned that there were going to be a lot of creek crossings yet? Another creek crossing. Now the thing about these creek crossings is getting up on the other side. The four-wheel drives chew out the track a lot. You can see it's sandy, dusty, silty almost. So these poor clutches on these DRZs were getting flogged.
You bastard.
That's it, we finished the Frenchman's track. Some more PDR riding. Now riding across these corrugations, you really just gotta hold it flat and lean over the back. The slower you go, the worse they feel. And here we are at Bromwell Junction, next to some big termite mounds. And then the next day, we're off to the Old Telegraph Track. This is the sign, obligatory photo before heading up the Old Telegraph Track, where we get to Palm Creek, which is the first creek crossing, which was very dry at the moment. It's a bit of a sandy base. There's multiple exit points, but we just trust Giuliano to take us to the right one. Couple of still shots across another creek crossing from photographer Giuliano again. And we had another fatality, but not a Healy. Now that just cost me $25. Hadn't cracked the mirror the whole trip, and cracked it going under that branch. Now crossing some of the rivers on the Old Telegraph Track, it's a bit of a maze. Definitely wouldn't be able to do it or know where to go without the tour leaders pointing us out. You could do it would just take you a long time, a lot of trial and error, knowing where the deep and shallow points are of all the creeks. Now this was our first log crossing. Giuliano was telling me either you gotta pin it across or you gotta walk it across. You can't half-ass it. So we can see a tentative approach going across this log, but I thought, how hard could it be? Not that hard. You just ride across the log. I got Luke and Greg coming across the first log bridge of the day. And this is one of the sandy banks coming out of one of the creeks. Wayne's made it up. Now, come on, Greg. Get that weight on the back wheel. Now finally Luke coming up the sand hill. Okay, we've gone back in time and Greg's coming across the first log bridge. Slow and steady. Now there are at least 6 different entry points to cross this creek, and we decided on this one. Really soft sandy bottom. When you get in the water, you just gotta get on the gas now straight away. Now here we are, coming up to Gunshot. There are some bypasses, but we went through the straight, went up straight to Gunshot. Now this was the chicken track around the outside if you didn't want to ride down Gunshot. Now it was only Wayne and I that did. And here's Wayne telling Luke that he should have done Gunshot. And there's me in the background relaxing after riding down Gunshot. Alright, you're going back in time. I'm sizing up Gunshot before we roll down.
Side, it will be more deeper, it's more impressive.
So the plan was to stick in the middle, had a bit of an audience on the hill. Piece of cake. Don't know what everyone was worried about. Right, and there goes Wayne. Now we'll go third person perspective. My descent. Wayne's descent. Not as graceful, but still made it down nonetheless. Now this was a bit of a tricky creek crossing, as we had to sort of make our way around the outside. Now I remember this creek crossing, it was a bit tricky because there were some holes in the middle and the refraction in the water is very deceiving. You don't know how deep it's going to be. And I know I wasn't going to drown one of these bikes.
there.
And then we made it to Fruitbat Falls for some relaxation in the water.
Come on, Paul. Be there, Kate.
At this point we just jumped in with all our gear because there's no way we were going to waste time taking it on and off. We were that sweaty and the boots were already filled with water. Alright, after more relaxing at Fruitbat Falls, then we get to Nolan's Creek crossing, which is the sketchiest log crossing we had to do. And this one was definitely a slow and steady crossing. Didn't feel like dropping the bike into that water at all. Here's Wayne coming across. Easy as. Here's my third person view coming across. Greg coming across.
Hey? Go.
Just over there, yeah. You got this one, Jill? Going in here, big mission. Yeah, got the opposition. I'm going to fuck it up again.
No, have a look coming across. He definitely didn't stall it when he came up the other side. Now coming out of the Old Telegraph Track, there was some sand to finish the day. But it was a good bit of fun riding through. end of the Old Teletrack. Juliana was waiting to congratulate us from finishing the track.
Thank you.
But then here, the real hand is at the Bamaga. But it's like just small section is at the beach where the wire go in the ocean and it was connected directly to London. But I don't think the wire is still there.
Now we're crossing the Jardine River, which is probably the shortest ferry ride I've ever had. And then we get to this DC3 wreck up towards Bamaga. A few more creek crossings. Now this creek crossing was actually from day 6. I put it in the wrong order. This is on our way to the tip. Day 5 ended at the Loyalty Beach campground where our support vehicle got bogged. But the views were great. It's not very often living in Sydney that you see a sunset over water to the west. Now the last day we rode to the tip as well as to some other beaches that were optional, and this is the group at the top, the northernmost point of the Australian continent. Here are the Heatleys with their associated numbers. Now it was about a 30-minute walk from the parking lot to the tip, so it was incredibly time consuming. We stopped at the Croc tent for some souvenirs, and then there was an optional breakout session for more sand riding, which only a few of us took because it was the last day and everyone was knackered. Here's Juliana showing us the way through one of the connecting roads to the different beaches. There were 5 different beaches that we were on that day. Now this is Luke's perspective, just riding around on some of the beaches. We really had free range ability to ride wherever we wanted. And it got a bit sketchy because some people were doing donuts one way, some people doing donuts the other way. We had to quickly rein it in. following myself out one of the beaches, and it's soft. And if you lose momentum, it's hard to get going again. Here we go, on to the next beach. Some more donuts. Here's me doing some flat track circles with Luke getting pretty close. And then we had some drag races on the beach. I think Luke's DR must have been a DR400. Redemption drag race. Nope. Still looks like a DRZ400. This is one of the last connecting sandy bits to one of the last beaches.
Fuck yeah.
Ah, sorry Luke, had to include this one.
Mine isn't.
Alright, and then the final track of the day is called the finisher. They call it the finisher for a reason. And here's Giuliano showing us how it's done. It was more sand. Now if anyone had any energy at the end of this trip, this track would have drained all the energy out of them that they had left. after the finisher, we all got to Punsen Beach. All had a couple of beverages. Bikes were loaded. And then, with our courtesy bus on the way back to the airport, had a flat battery, so we had to push start it. We couldn't write this.
Yeah, boy!
Couple of games of pool, boarding the plane. And that's it. Thank you.